Hello, Year 9. So we're going to have a look at the answers for the comprehension on anulus Aegyptus, okay, which means Egyptian ring. The reason why I'm making sure that you have more experience with comprehensions is primarily because it is one of the ways that you're assessed in Level 1 and in GCSE as well. So let's have a look at this comprehension then. So, number 1 mark we're looking at. How did Syphax pay for his drink? So, line number 1 to, well, we don't have a line reference yet, but let's find out. So, looking at this then, Syphax was sitting in an inn. The innkeeper gave wine to Syphax. Syphax handed over a ring to the innkeeper. So, Syphax is paying for his drink with a ring, okay? So you get 1 mark for saying with a ring. Number 2, why did he pay in this way? Well, let's have a look at the Latin, shall we? Pecuniam non habeo, I have no wine. I have no money, he said. Quod Neptunus delevit meam navem. Because Neptune destroyed my boat or my ship. Okay, so he says, so your mark for this one will be because Syphax has no money. Number 3 then, what do you think he meant in lines 3 and 4 by saying Neptunus delevit navem meam? So, what you need to have a look at with this is how the marks are going to be decided. This question is worth 2 marks, so we need to be thinking about giving 2 marks worth of information here. So, he says, Neptune destroyed my boat, or my ship, okay? But what do we think he means by this? So, you would probably, in this one, get a mark by saying the ship, he no longer has a ship, or the ship has been destroyed. And you would probably get another mark by saying by the sea, because it doesn't actually literally mean Neptune, the god of the sea, called Poseidon in Greek. It doesn't actually mean that the god Neptune has done it. It's kind of the Neptune as a personification of the sea. So I'd say 1 mark here by saying the sea, and another mark saying destroyed his ship or no longer has a ship anymore. Number 4, lines 7 to 9. Syphax gives 3 pieces of information about the ring. What are they? So, line 7 starts here. Ituero antiquus est, Syphax respondit cauponi. So, it's old. Okay, so that's one thing. And then servus Aegyptus dedit anulum mihi. So, an Egyptian slave gave it to him. That's another thing. And one more thing that he says is the slave found it in Waynit in pyramide, in a pyramid. So 1 mark for it's old, 1 mark for an Egyptian slave gave it to him, and another mark for the slave found it in a pyramid. So there's your 3 marks. So, what did the innkeeper do with the ring when he returned home? Well, let's have a look. So, we don't have a line reference for this one. We just know that it's going to be after line 9, or around about after line 9. But we can probably guess that it's going to be before line 15 because question 6 asks about it. Asks about line 13. So, what did the innkeeper do when he returned home? We should be looking for something that has got something to do with home then. So in this case, villa, alright? So he hurried to his house. So, what did the innkeeper do with it when he returned home? 2 marks. So, caupo ostendit anulum uxori. The innkeeper showed the ring to his wife. And caupo dedit anulum uxori. Okay, he gave it to his wife. So 1 mark for he showed it, and another mark for he gave it. So, next up then, line 15. Who met the wife and what two things did he make her do? So if we're looking at line 13 here, okay, so on the next day, the wife hurried to the city. So, subito ingen servus apparuit in via. Suddenly a huge slave appeared in the street. So, who met the wife? It's going to be that huge slave, isn't it? So that's one of your marks. What two things did he make her do? So, he asked for money. The woman, because she was terrified, gave the slave money. The slave caught sight of the ring. He asked for the ring. The woman handed it over to the slave. So, he made her hand over the money, made her hand over her money for 1 mark, and made her hand over the ring for another mark. Next up then. What three things... what did she find when she returned to the inn? Line 18. What did she find? So... let me see. The inn was on fire. That is what she found, okay? Taberna ardebat. The inn was on fire. And that is your 1 mark for line number 7. Number 8. What three things happened after the huge slave met the other slaves and they spotted the money? In lines 24 to 25. So, the huge slave, after he took the money in the ring, hurried to the city. Suddenly he caught sight of 3 slaves. They were enemy slaves. Or the slaves were enemies. The slaves, after they caught sight of the money, beat up the slave. The slave fled, but he lost the ring. So, what 3 things happened after the huge slave met the other slaves and they spotted the money? So, first of all, they beat the slaves, the huge slave fled, and the slave lost the ring. Okay, so those are your 3 marks for that one. Who found the ring? So we're going to be looking after line 25 for this one. So who found the ring? Grumio ambulabat cum Poppaea. So Grumio was walking with Poppaea. In venet anulum in via. He found a ring in the street. Okay? So, it was Grumio who found the ring. Number 10. Poppaea thought the ring was lucky. Who had the opposite opinion earlier in the story? Who do you think was right? Give a reason. Okay? So, this one requires you to use your brain, really. So, it's asking you to think back to earlier in the story. It might be a good idea for you to have a look right back to the beginning of the story and have a look at the start. Okay? So, who do you think thought that the ring was unlucky? Well, I'm going to say that I think Syphax thought that the ring was unlucky. Because, and I think that he thought he was unlucky because he believed that Neptune had destroyed his ship because he had the ring. Who do you think was right? And give a reason. Okay, so you would get 1 mark for saying you thought that Syphax was the one who had the opposite opinion, and these other 2 marks are basically, so long as you can justify them, they, we can take any opinion into account. I would be more likely to say that I think that Syphax was right rather than Poppaea, because everyone who we have seen to have the ring so far has seen something of theirs destroyed, whether it is a ship or an inn. Okay? So, hopefully this has helped you somewhat with being able to do some comprehensions. but we will practice these because they do take quite a bit of skill.